when I start looking at some of the follow-up questions for those companies that were connected, we look further into how many companies have joined up the dots, how many have implemented smart sensors, alerts and updates, RPA, all of this kind of good kind of automation stuff that's baked into that modern IoT-centered workflow. Now we're just looking at half of field service companies start to actually leverage that data effectively. Do you think that that's, first of all, do you think that those numbers are in line with your connections with the industry when you're talking to companies? And do you think that's an area where we've basically built the foundations in my head, but now it's time to start building the house or the skyscraper even? We need to build on those foundations. I'd love to get your thoughts from that perspective.
Yeah, certainly. Once again, to your point, I mean, this is the finding that to some degree, maybe upon reflection, isn't so surprising. Certainly IoT has been around for a while. We've been talking about it for a while as an industry, but I think there's been hesitancy about adopting and utilizing some of the technology that's out there. And I think what we'll see, or what we see as indicators coming out of the research right now, is that a lot of these things, as I mentioned before, there's a maturity curve for, right? There's nothing rocket science about that. I think we all can kind of appreciate the fact that there are different stages of maturity and adoption that go through, and that this pandemic has created kind of an inflection point for accelerating that maturity. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't move from being immature to being fully mature all in one fell swoop. What it does do is provide a catalyst for those to get that maybe had some resistance to utilizing either technology or the insights from that technology to further embrace that, and that the broader embracing of it is what's going to ultimately accelerate the adoption and the long-term maturity of it for the sector, right? And so I think what we're seeing coming out of this is that some of the barriers are down, and that the pandemic has forced those to come down. It also has forced people to think differently about how they can deliver their services and where they'll get the data and the insights to be able to deliver in that different model. And so IoT certainly provides the opportunity to do that and create a little bit of this hybrid model that we've been alluding to. But it still is a lift to get fully and fully embrace IoT. We've got a couple of customers that have had IoT sensors in place that we're using that as far as changing to a different service delivery model. But the reality is they wouldn't have been able to do that all in one fell swoop. It's been a process for them, and they were a little bit ahead of the curve in some respects. And so what we see is exactly that. We see some that are further ahead, that have the devices and the signals coming from the devices being utilized, and they're able to capitalize on that. And we see others that maybe were a little bit resistant to working in that mode, now embracing the idea that yes, this can work for us, right? This is something that is going to be beneficial for us in the future. And so there's a lower resistance to that level of adoption. However, there still is the requirement to mature the infrastructure and the processes to be able to support and take advantage of that advanced technology, right? And so I think we see kind of just once again, just like I alluded to as far as video conferencing and things like that, while people are embracing that more, the technologies associated with delivering those services are going to be forced to rapidly advance to improve the quality of the way that those services are being delivered. And I think that's the same thing with IoT. I think there's certainly a much greater desire to adopt some of that because they see the benefit of how that can transform the service delivery model. But there's still going to need to be some maturity of how to utilize that data, allocate the resources based on that, link that into the field service automation platform to deliver and prioritize the work orders that are coming out of that, and then ultimately, align that to the right resources based on the level of priority of the work that's being indicated. And so there's just a lot, there's a lot that has been identified, and a lot of barriers that I think have been reduced or at least put aside. And so there's an adoption uptake that's going on, but with that adoption uptake, I think there is going to be, over the next 12 to 18 months is where we're really going to start to see the acceleration of that technology taking place.